All right, folks, gonna do a encyclopedia maybe of arm curling, trying to work the biceps for the home. A lot of the shit you could do at the gym, assuming your gym is really stocked. Go to a place like Planet Fitness, you might be stuck with machines, some dumbbells up to 75 pounds, and most likely you're not going to have any curling bars. Now, I have come across some Planet Fitnesses that have curling bars, but for the most part, cables, machines, and dumbbells. That's what you get at a Planet Fitness. So on the floor, and maybe not as easy to see. Let me change one of these cameras up. I have various barbells, all right? We have straight bar, 5-footer. We're not going to use a 7-footer, Could use a 7-footer. It's a lot of weight to start off with, right? If you have something smaller than that, probably better for the bicep to get warmed up. We have a curl bar, super curl bar, 5-foot straight bar, and then this kind of like a hammer curl tricep bar. We've got some dumbbells. We'll walk through that. Over here, we've got the Signature Fitness belt squat machine. Over to my right, we've got an incline bench that we can use. Behind me, I'm not sure any of the views on this one can see it, but there's a Titan Fitness utility bench there. So we'll kind of try and demonstrate some different things. If I forget to do it, hopefully I won't. We want to do some concentration curls. And maybe even with the incline, demonstrate, doing a one-arm angled curl off of that. Kind of like a preacher curl, but, for me, if you don't have both arms going, is it really a preacher curl? I don't know. So let's start. Straight bar. We're going to grab this about shoulder width apart. And honestly, if you have a 5-footer, go for that first, because the bar's 25, 30 pounds maybe. If you have a 6-footer, go with that first. If you're really freaking ginormous, warmed up and jacked, maybe you go with the 7-footer. Though I'm pretty big, I'm going to go with the 5-footer, okay? And I do have another bar that's 7 foot that's even lighter than this. So trying to keep the spine straight. We've got our knees with slight bend. Find a comfortable place for your feet. I like to be about shoulder width apart and having them angled out. And then I'm just going to curl up, right? Back down. Now, notice keeping the spine pretty straight. And let me make sure I turn. Sucking my gut in a little as well. Keeping the core tight. Now, you will see people... There's, strict curl contests, all kinds of different things. Cheat curls. As you're just starting off, stick with trying to work the bicep only. Not your back, not your shoulders, not everything else, all right? So there is a straight bar. Something like that available at Amazon, say for $40, I believe, a cheap one. Now, the Olympic plates that go with it, if you're going to buy a bunch of them, it's going to set you back. Most people, probably don't need more than, just for doing biceps. Most of you probably don't need more than 100 pounds, plus the bar, right? So with that bar, 100 pounds plus 20 or 120, most of you are going to be set. You can buy weight plates, Olympic weight plates, in increments, and I think I'll try and rotate this camera a little bit so it can see the weight tree. Let's move this one over just a second. So we have weight tree here, various Olympic plates, right? Got them all throughout this workout area, but you can buy weight plates smaller than this 2.5. They're micro plates. But something like this, a 6-pack of cap, right now on sale, I think for $17. 4-pack of the 5-pound caps available for $23. And you know, all the bigger plates are more than the poundage, so 25s are probably anywhere from 30 to 37. The 35s are probably 37 to 47, and then right now the 45s are $53 a piece. All right, so that's just with cap. There's all kinds of different brands, and though I've got a lot of cap, it's just because that's really what this channel at the moment can afford. So we got to go with what we can go with. All right, and it looks like we're about to lose one of our camera mounts because it's not particularly pulled it down very good. Okay, a little technical difficulty. So let's go on to the next bar, folks. Curl bar. Okay, so this, you know, all these bars really are changing your grip, right? And you are working your bicep differently, hitting it at different angles. A lot of it has to do with comfort too. You notice elbow sleeve. I have some tendonitis in this elbow, plus hyperextension has absolutely wrecked it. So for me to be able to continue to lift weights, we have to wear some kind of sleeve, and it helps to have a curling bar. Now, this used to be a good bar for me. I went and bought a super curl, which you'll see next. But so with this, you know, same thing. We are basically bringing it up, you know, exhale, inhale, right? So your breathing's kind of important. Let's look at it from the side. Once again, trying to keep that back straight. Now this bar, if we were doing strict curls, we'd have our back, our butt, our head up against a wall, and we'd be really trying to focus. I think that's a little ridiculous for this, to be honest with you. You know, more realistic to curl moving a little bit. You know, if you start doing this, once again, we're getting into cheating, momentum. All right, so that was the curl bar. Super curl. Now for me, folks, this is the ideal bar. All right, it's got a little bit more of an angle. Just feels better for my jacked up wrist. We didn't talk about that. And my elbow. So if you had all these bars and no issues with tendonitis in your elbow, tennis elbow, whatever, problems with your wrist, you know, you were going to get into bicep training, these, at least these three that I've shown you so far, are really going to be your mass builders for the bicep, right? You're going to put the most pounds most likely up using those. Alternating each week might not be a bad thing. Hitting the bicep at different angles, probably not a bad thing. And, you know, just to keep from getting bored. Now, would I do all three of those in a row in the same day? No, I think that's kind of stupid. All right, so now this next bar is definitely going to work a different part of the bicep. And this is closer to a hammer curl, which we're going to get into. Working that outside of the head. And you don't want to forget about the outside of the head, okay? Also, this is going to work your forearms probably more, at least this meaty part. And forgive me for getting the names of the two main parts of the forearm. But this meatier part right here, this is what you're going to get from doing hammer curls. But with this bar, you know, basically we're lifting up. A little harder to, you know, get your arms completely straight with this. There are different variations of this that would have the grips further apart. And for some of you, you know, if you're bigger than me, I like to think I'm pretty goddamn big, but there are lots of people bigger than me. There's one thing you'll always learn: there's somebody bigger. Some of you might need these things spread out. All right, from the side for the other camera. So I'm going to start putting some of these back, give my bicep a little bit of a break. Now, one nice thing about a 7-foot bar, folks, if you have a power cage, and I'm just going to demonstrate with or show with the other camera, you can put the barbell at the height you want to work out at, right? None of these are going to work that way. If you have a preacher bench and you want to do it standing, you could obviously put this on the preacher bench. That might annoy some people around you that want to use the preacher bench, actually use the preacher bench. So keep that in mind. If you're working out by yourself, you know, make your life easier. Put it on the preacher bench. Easier to change out the weights. A lot of things are easier to do with that. If you happen to get all these barbells, curling bars, barbells, whatever, I suggest that you get a barbell holder. Mine holds 5, even though we still have 3 big 7-foot bars around here, plus some Olympic dumbbells. And I'm going to show you those too, folks. This is, in my opinion, maybe not the most informative thing in the world for telling you guys everything about the bicep, but at least for exercises you can do. All right, let's grab a dumbbell. So we'll do some standing shit first. You know, another place where variation can be a good thing if you get bored. So, you know, of course, there's people that will just curl like this, right? Very similar to having the straight bar. Obviously, though, you can see we're not completely in line. I don't want to do that with my elbow, but we're working the bicep, right? That inner head, you can feel it a lot more. Now, there's, of course, doing something like this. Forgive me for not remembering the name, but we're alternating. Okay, now this is harder to do when you have the real big ass dumbbells. You know, as you come in, you've got to avoid hitting yourself. But, you know, this is one of the ones I would do at the gym. Now, all of what we just did can be done sitting down. Let's let me just make sure my camera angles are good. So we can do these exact same exercises sitting. And hopefully you have more flexibility than I do, folks. So you can flare those arms out more, get the dumbbells away from the body, all right? And of course, we can alternate while we're seated. In a second, we'll jump over the incline, because guess what? We can do it with the incline too, all right? I need a little break. Holy cow. 5 pounds, folks. They'll wear you out after a while. So let me get this camera, make sure the camera, at least one camera, can see the incline bench when we do this. I think we're sort of okay. I'll rotate this down. So there's at least 2 views. I've got this triple view thing set up, and you know, it's good to have all the different variations for views, but I'm gonna move this bar. I have this phobia about this being ready to fall on me. So we'll just put it in the corner. Let that dry. Screw up the insulation. Okay, so it is like freezing cold outside, but the basement, this part of the basement is always nice and toasty. So I have to occasionally let the bicep breathe a little bit. So we're going to come over here. We're going to do just what we did a second ago at an angle. Then I'm going to jump around the back and try and do some preacher cool like exercise. If you have a like powered recliner like we do, or powered couch where the it reclines, power reclining couch, you could even use that. I wouldn't say use 50 pounders, but using 10 pounders on there, 20 pounders, and I'll show you that exercise in a second. Eventually we'll get to the belt squat, and we'll talk about that. So let me move the other camera. All right. So just like we did in the other video, or not the other video, the other exercise, we can curl seated. All right. And so for those of you that have problems with your elbows, or you have hyperextended, you really might not like angled. All right. And of course we can do a alternating curl. All right. Now this is probably not a place where you're going to do hammer curls, but we have yet to show you hammer curls, so I got to make sure I do that. But that's another variation, right? And finally over here, so it's good to have these different benches. If you really think you're going to be big shit weightlifter, don't buy a cheap adjustable incline bench. Buy a pretty solid one. You got to go on eBay, Craigslist. Maybe find somebody local selling a Cybex, Life Fitness, Precore, whatever. The cheap shit on Amazon, probably not worth the money. When you can buy something used that's going to kick ass for many years. All right. So personal opinion. After buying a couple cheap ass benches, now this is the second time I've had a commercial incline bench. This is my first decline bench over there. Then we used to have a flat, and we had the military press bench. So you'll see all that stuff again on this channel if barring any issues. All right, so better angle for this would be good, but basically just concentrating on one arm. All right, and that's my bad arm, so we'll do this side. Sadly, that's the bigger bicep on the bad arm. But if you had more of an angle, so this is probably 30 degrees, maybe it's 45 degrees, but I think it's 30. Most inclines are supposed to be set at 30. Which is supposed to be the optimal degree. Now, we won't talk about that bench press wise, but that's another variation. A steeper angle would be better. So if I were to grab my cap adjustable bench, we could use that. This is a bit too steep, but we could use the utility bench as well. All right, so just finding different ways to work your biceps. Concentration curls, supposed to bring out the peak in your bicep if you have the genetics, right? So that's part of the problem. You may not get, of course we fucked up the angle over here. You may not ever get a good peak on your bicep because guess what? If it's not something genetically that you're capable of getting, you may never get it. All right, so this can be done with a seated bench. Probably it can be done in a stool, as long as the stool can handle your weight and the weight you have, or a flat fixed bench. All right, but you're basically just gonna drop the weight down, try and get full extension. Maybe I should use my left arm, and then curl up, right? We're not trying to swing. The amount of weight you do here is going to be a lot less than what you do with standing curls, all right? We're just trying to work on that peak. That's all we care about. And you can do this with cables as well, standing, but for this we have dumbbells, all right? So there's another exercise. We haven't done hammer curls yet. Let's do those standing. So we can do them both at the same time. We can come out from the body, all right? So let's just demonstrate that. 90 degrees to the body, or we could alternate and come 45 degrees to the body. Let's just make sure our cameras, now that I'm standing up, I'm chopping my head off on one view, but nobody cares. So yeah, we can do it this way. Now, we will find with hammer curls, folks, when you get to doing them, you're going to use more weight than you can do curling this way, okay? Case in point, I got up to 75, yeah, because I have 70s and I would add 5. So with this arm, I can do 8 with the right and 6 with the left. But most of the time, you know, oddly enough, I hit those numbers and then we start having problems and we end up having to drop down, you know, 72.5, 70, to the point where we don't even go that heavy these days. I've gone through that a couple times. And so perhaps we will heal up again and be able to go heavy again on the hammers. But all right, so demonstrated a bunch of different take this off for a minute, bunch of different curls with dumbbells, straight bars. Now we'll do some other stuff, right? This next set of exercises could be done with either a cable machine or the belt squat apparatus. I just want to make sure that I don't have any other exercises I want to demonstrate. I do have one thing I want to say though before we move on. These Olympic curling bars, all right? Another way to do arm curls, but you're going to find that these things are so big. There's usually two different sizes, 16 inch and 20. I'd say that's about 20 inches. Yeah, this one's 20. You know, hard to do these kind of curls with this thing, right? You can do hammers. Just don't get the real big ass plates. Don't put 25s on here like I've seen one of my buddies do. Some 5-pounders, and preferably the real thin ones, so you can get a crap ton of them on here. You know, if you have, I'll just demonstrate this without putting a collar on there. This is at least not too far away from the body, right? If I was curling with this. So that's not too bad. Trying to do, you know, this kind of exercise with this thing is going to be awkward. You're going to hit yourself. These are not the best thing in the world for your bicep curls, okay? You can work your forearms with this, but we're not doing a forearm video, so. But for the most part, folks, I would say don't waste your time with the Olympic dumbbells, all right, for that. Now, they have a lot of uses. If you ever watch my shrug video, you'll see that, or if you see me doing one-arm rows, they're very useful for that. Okay, so one of these videos I'm going to wear different sleeves and talk about them, what I'm using them for. But I'm going to put this one on for a little while, give my elbow a little more support. So we did the dumbbells. I'm going to move this bench because I don't think we're going to use it again. But we might try to. All right. Now, a lot of you, have seen this bar at your local Planet Fitness, Gold's Gym, wherever. And maybe you have a cable machine there. With this guy, we can curl with it, all right? I would prefer one that's a little bit wider. And I need to put another link in this. Excuse me a second, folks. It's not quite long enough for me. Okay. And I probably should take this bar off. So you can curl with this, all right? Has a pretty good feel to it. I mean, now there is, which I don't have, is the curling bar that has all the bends in it, right? That would be much better for this, and it's usually wider. So one day, maybe I'll get one. You can reverse curl, all right? This works that top part of the forearm, just like when you're doing the, I say the top part, this part of the forearm, which is very similar to what you're working with the hammer curls, and it's working the outside of the bicep. At least that's how it feels on me. So, you know, at times maybe we could give people bad advice or bad info, but I'm going off what I feel, which is the outside of the bicep, right? So that's the straight bar, folks. 2 exercises there you can use with this. And while I take a little break here, I'm going to take this bar, or at least take this 45 off. I have to worry about it, giving myself a head trauma. One of these days, I'm gonna put the pad on there so I don't hit myself in the head. So it'd be ideal if I had another weight tree or something on the other side of the power cage. All right, so that's a little less distracting. Getting the bar out of here would be nice too, but not sure where else we could put it. Okay, so we did the straight bar. Something like this, folks, not really going to recommend, but you know, obviously a different handle. We could do, you know, curls with that. Well, let's get back to a hammer curl type exercise. Ropes, okay? Your gym will have these usually. Half the time they're all beat to shit, but you know, maybe they aren't. And we can do our hammer curls with these, right? I'm gonna put some weight on there. One of my goals today is to do variations of hammer curls. So, no, I do like this a lot, folks. With the belt squat and with, you know, at your local gym, using the cable, like the Life Fitness cable. Obviously, there's all kinds of different ones, Matrix, whatever. But the one thing I don't like, when you go really heavy on this, these things dig into your hand. So if your gym has a more ergonomic handle, that would be way better, right? But still a very good feeling exercise. Now, let's talk single handle or single rope. So let's say you want to go a little bit, maybe you're having issues with your right bicep, right elbow, you know. Maybe you just grab the single rope and work one arm, all right? Or because let's say your left arm is lacking in size and we want to push it heavier, maybe we do extra sets with just the left, right? All kinds of reasons that we might use the single, all right? So that's another good exercise there. You don't see me using this too much. Oops, we just took the hook off. Now, since I don't have the other curling bar, we will just have to wrap it up. I have to make sure I think about this. I think this is the last exercise, right? So one arm, we could do, you know, this kind of movement. Very slow if we had the cable. Now if you have the cable machine, move the thing all the way up and you can stand here and do your curls that way, okay? But you know, or you can do it standing. So many variations that we can do, all right? We don't want to forget the other arm. Now, of course, I'm going to move this barbell when I get really lifting the weights here for my next video. All right, so folks, there you have it. We have worked. Oh, you know what? We do have one more bar. One more bar you can use. Hang on. I like to make sure I demonstrate just about everything. You'll find this bar lying around too, folks, at your local commercial gym, right? And obviously, all of these things can be purchased somewhat relatively cheap price at Amazon these days. Now, the gym usually buys the $50 to $100 bars of this, I'd say. And you might just be cheap and buy the $23 one like this. So this might be a little wide. There's a shorter one of these. You could, you know, do this if you had the shorter one. That's a good handle. You know, for doing straight stuff, pretty good. Variations, all this stuff, folks. If we had our seat in place, of course it got stuck on the rug. You know, we can curl off of our knees as well. Not quite the same range of motion though, right? If I took out a link, we'd be able to start more like here. All right, I'm not going to do that, but you can kind of get the point. Just another way to curl. But that's going to do it, folks. You know, there are all kinds of other ways you can work your biceps at the house. I think I've covered probably the majority of them. That might have been, you know, 20 different variations. Because luckily we have all these different barbells, right? I have all the barbells. I have a crap ton of dumbbells over there. I've got all these accessories for this thing. So that's stuff you can do at the house for your bicep. Now, another video, you want to hopefully bulk up your forearms. I got crap we can do at the house for that. Check that video out. And I'll probably do multiple ones. You'll see everything I could do for my forearms at home. But then there'll be like a weekly or bi-weekly forearm video, me working them. By the end of it, hopefully, folks, 6 months, a year from now, you'll see, wow, that guy's got some growth on it. You go back to the original video, you know, because I just don't do forearms enough. So if over 6 months, you should see some kind of change in your forearms, right? So just keep that in mind. It's 1 week of doing forearms ain't going to get nothing done. A month of forearms, probably not going to see nothing. 6 months, you know, minimum to actually see something on your forearms. There you go, though, folks. That was my, I call it the encyclopedia biceps. But, yeah, whatever you want to call it. Thanks for checking out the video. Please like, please subscribe.